Welcome to the Phenomenal Women Club, the podcast where you'll hear women being unapologetically phenomenal every episode, with your host, Jordan, being Jordan, on all the socials, so add me. And you already know what you need to do. This is the last episode of 2024. So what you need to do is add the podcast to your regular scheduled listening, okay? That's what you need to do. You cannot end 2024 without doing so. So follow us on TikTok at the PW Club, follow us on Instagram at the PW Club, and follow us on YouTube at the Phenomenal Women Club. I don't know why every week I forget the socials. Clearly there's so much going on up here. But thanks for tuning in, guys, for the last episode of the year. I don't know where 2024 went, but 2025 is literally upon us. Here we are. And we should feel blessed and happy that we've made it to the end of the year. Because what a year it has been. What a year it has been. So this episode's going to be different to the usual structure of the episodes, because this episode is about the women of 2024. The women of 2024. Like, there have been so many extraordinary women doing extraordinary things this year. And I just felt like, let me shout them out. So this episode is going to be dedicated to them. Not all of them. There's no way I would be able to fit all of them into this week's episode, but I'll shout out a few notable ones that I made a list of. But in no way is it an exhaustive list at all, because as you know, women are phenomenal. And actually my hope is that this time next year, I will be talking about the women who you guys have emailed me about. That is my hope, and I'm manifesting that. I'm putting that in the air, that this time next year, when I do my end of year Women of 2025, actually the episode will consist of like local homegrown heroes who you guys have nominated for me to talk about in this episode. Like, don't you think that'll be amazing? I think that would be so good. Yeah. I'm speaking that into existence. That's what's going to happen. But let's jump right in. So the first woman of the year for me has to be Gisele Pelicot. Now, I've spoken about her on, I would love to speak to her. I've spoken about her on a few episodes this year because I have been in awe of this woman. If you don't know Gisele Pelicot, she is at the center of it. Well, is she at the center of the case? Yeah, she is. She's at a center of a case in France, which is, I think, maybe one of the biggest cases, I would say, that France has had in relation to sexual assault. And she is at the center of that case. It is a harrowing story. But in a very, very, very small nutshell, Gisele has been married to her, I believe they're still married now, but they've been married for like 50 odd years, only for her to find out, just by the universe showing her that something was up. She found out that her husband of 50 odd years, his name is Dominique Pelicot, has just been drugging her and inviting men to the home to do unspeakable things to her. That's a summary. That's what's happened. And so the case is being called Mr. Everyman case, because of the 50 men who he invited to the family home while she was drugged. They are from all walks of life. Like, they are firefighters, they are postmen, they are neighbors, they are Mr. Everyman, right? And she's gone into this trial. The trial has been going on for, I think it must be about 6 weeks by now. I'm hoping that there is a before I'm recording this, obviously before the end of the year, but I'm hoping by the end of the year that there is a verdict given. And I hope that verdict is guilty to all of them and they all spend the rest of their lives in prison. But, you know, let's see what happens. We know that sometimes these cases don't ever get the results that we need. But the way Gisele has handled herself during this case, it doesn't even make sense to me. I am in awe of this woman. And she's basically said, like, the shame is not here with me, the shame is with them. And she has put the shame back on the men who have done this to her. So she is definitely my number one. She should have been like Times person of the year. I don't know why she wasn't. I believe they gave that to a orange man in America, but she is definitely number one here for me. So Gisele Pelicot is number one woman of the year for me. The second woman of the year in my eyes is Coco Gauff. I am in love with her. Like, I don't even watch tennis that much. I don't. Let me just be honest with you. I don't watch tennis unless it's Serena or Coco. I will then tune in to see what's going on, purely to see what is going on. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. Tennis is not my go-to sport, but Coco is 19 years old. Also, when I was reading up for today's episode, I was like, oh, she must be like in her like mid-20s. Like, you know, she is 19 years old, and I'm reading that she is the highest paid female athlete. At 19 years old, you're already the highest paid female athlete. I can only, and literally just killing it. It's amazing. It's amazing. I know that you start playing tennis when you're quite young. Like, I know that that's what people do. Like, I definitely watched the Serena Williams movie. Was it King Richard, about how she got into tennis and stuff? I don't know if Coco's story is different to that, but Coco is doing amazingly. She's 19. She is literally killing it. She's making all her money. She seems sensible. Seems like she's got her head screwed on, knows what she's doing, knows where she's going. Must really have a very strong like support network around her. I love it for Coco. She's definitely on the phenomenal women club, women of the year, because she's just doing so well. And the fact that she has got, like, she's so young, I don't even, where will she go? There's so much potential there with her. I'm really excited to see where Coco gets to. But she's definitely on the list of women of the year. Now, I only found out about this woman very recently. I was listening to an episode of no, I was not listening to that podcast. I was listening to Paul Brunson's podcast, and he had what's her name? Cindy Gallop. He had Cindy Gallop on, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of Cindy Gallop. Let me listen to this episode. And she blew my mind so much that she is also in the list of women of the year. Cindy Gallop, for those who don't know, is like a women's rights, body empowerment founder of an organization called Make Love Not Porn. And she's doing a lot of work to challenge the porn industry. She's doing a lot of work to challenge the myths and misconceptions that people have about women and sexuality and identity. And honestly, she is a babe. If there's somebody who you want to go out for a drink with, it's probably Cindy. That was my thinking as I listened to the podcast. I was like, if there is somebody I want to go out for a drink with, go and have dinner with, it's Cindy. It will be an absolute brilliant night. She is so knowledgeable. She is so clear in her convictions. She is the mentor that every woman should have, and I love it for her. So she made such an impression. I was like, she has to go on the phenomenal woman of the year list. Like, she just has to. She just has to. And I mean, I need you guys to go and research her, go and follow her on the socials, go and listen to Paul Brunson's episode with her, because her outlook is just so refreshing, and you don't really hear her outlook, and you don't really hear women talk about relationships the way that she does. So I love that perspective that she brings. I'm a huge fan of Cindy. I'm following her everywhere now. So yeah, I mean, all the women that I'm going to list, all the women that I talk about, I'd love to have conversations with them. But yeah, I'm speaking that as well, that one day I will be able to sit down with Cindy and have a conversation with her about all the things. And I think it will be such a good conversation. But yeah, Cindy Gallop is definitely on the Phenomenal Women of the Year list. Clearly, I've been listening to a lot of Paul Brunson, because this was another guest that he had on, who blew my mind. Paul gets all of the good guests, clearly. Dr. Judith Joseph. She is a psychiatrist and a mental health specialist, expert. Brilliant. She is, she's Trini, so Caribbean girl, who, again, just accolade after accolade, every degree, masters, doctorate, everything. Obviously, she's a doctor. So learned, so excellent, so brilliant. And she's a specialist in talking about high functioning depression. And I was like, wow. I can't believe that hasn't been a phrase or a diagnosis that has been widely understood. Like, I would assume that high functioning depression is something that would be very well understood, but it's not. And Dr. Judith is doing everything to make sure that people understand what it is and how to treat it, how to understand it, and also how to recognize high functioning depression in yourself. And I was like, if there's any demographic that is more likely to be high functioning depressed, it's women. Go and research Dr. Judith. Go and research everything that woman is working on, because she is absolutely brilliant. She when just talking to Paul, I was like, this all makes sense. This all makes sense. And she explains how being highly functioning depressed could present, and how that's different to different forms of depression. Really helpful. She is on the list for me, definitely on the list for the Phenomenal Women Women of the Year. Just brilliant. What I cannot believe is that we ever had an Olympics this year. 2024 has been such a fast year, but such a slow year all at the same time. Because how was Paris Olympics this year, please? How did that happen this year? The other woman I would like to add to the list is, drumroll please, Rebecca Andrade. So again, I love me a bit of gymnastics, but only really at the Olympics. Don't know why, but I get into it. You need to see what Simone Biles is going to do something. Rebecca Andrade came this year and gave Simone a little bit of a run for her money. I absolutely loved it. And to see there's so much unity between the two, I was so impressed. Then to find out that Rebecca is from Brazil. She went on to win, I think, 6 medals. She trained in the favelas. Her story is so brilliant. Against all the odds, you are now at the Olympics, winning medals alongside Simone Biles. It's so inspirational. She had to make it onto this list. And again, young, we're gonna see where she gets to as well. I'm really interested to see where Rebecca gets to, but I'm so impressed with her. So yes, Rebecca Andrade is also on the Phenomenal Women of the Year list. And finally, and in no way least, my final Woman of the Year is going to be Madisson Tevlin, who is an actor and a model, and you may know her from her campaign Assume That I Can, that got over 50 million views. I saw that campaign. I don't think I knew who she was, but I saw the campaign and I was like, oh, this campaign's sick. She's got Down syndrome. She's literally pushing all of the boundaries, challenging all of the myths, and letting everybody know that she can do as much as anybody else can do. She's been on some big campaigns this year. When I was researching for this episode, I was like, when you know someone's face but you haven't clocked what it is that they're doing, that's Madisson. You will know her, you will know what she's up to. She is somebody to watch. Madisson Tevlin is my final woman of the year for me. Doing great things. And what an amazing campaign that got so much it was so good. It was so it became so popular because she's so right to challenge the idea of what people who are special educational needs or have Down syndrome, whatever, what they can do, and it really challenged people. She's amazing for that. So that is my list of the Phenomenal Women Club Women of the Year. What a year 2024 has been, and I'm really excited about what 2025 is going to bring. So as I was thinking and reflecting about 2024, because that's what happens when it gets to the end of the year, you sit down, you reflect, you think. I was thinking about all the new skills that I've learned this year. And it's really hard to, because this year went fast and slow at the same time. I feel like I did a lot and nothing at the same time. Like it's been one of those weird, I don't know. Let me know if you guys think the same. It's been one of those weird years, really strange, really weird. I wonder if 2025 is going to be the same. But I sat down and thought about the new skills that I've learned. And one of the things I have definitely worked on this year is my content creating. I decided to take it seriously this year, and it's definitely paid off. So I've had like more, an increase in following on TikTok, which has been quite fun, daunting, but fun. And have started to post more consistently on LinkedIn, which is where you might be seeing this. And I love that for me. I love that for me. And I think the thing about content creating, which is 100% a skill, like I respect every content creator because you are, one, exposing yourself to the world. When you make content, you don't know where that content's going to go, and you don't know how that content's going to be received. So it's one, a skill to make content that people want to listen to, people want to engage with. But two, it's a skill to even build yourself up to make the content in the first place. And I think that's something that we maybe forget or don't fully appreciate, that is hard to create content. It's just the mental preparation you have to do in order to make the content itself. So I just want that note to be noted. And it's been really great being able to interact with other content creators and understand how they also, their strategies, their techniques, what they do to make sure that they create the best content. And then also, as the skills have developed, being able to make content that fits different platforms, because the content that I make for LinkedIn is different to the content that I make for Instagram, which is different to the content that I make for TikTok, because they all have different needs. They're like children. They all have different needs that you have to meet. So that, I would say this year, that has been one of the skills that I have been working on. And I think I've done quite well to be able to make content that I can post on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So go me. Let's see where 2025 gets me to. And the final takeaway from this episode, from the last episode of 2024, I cannot believe it, is about New Year, New You. And I think, how could I have this episode and not mention this? Because it is that time of the year where we are thinking about what we want to take with us into the new year and maybe what we want to leave behind. So my tips for New Year, New You, I kind of jotted some down, are the following. So definitely, I love to end the year with a declutter. I'm so into it. Just decluttering your space, your wardrobe. This year, I'm also going to do a digital declutter because my laptop is just, there's so much stuff on it. Don't judge me because I know that your laptop has stuff on it too. But there's so much stuff on it that needs to go, like I need to go through, clear out the storage, do all that stuff, because a declutter is what you need. So you can go into 2025 feeling light and fresh and new. It's one of my favorite things to do at the end of the year. So it's that. And then the other tip I would give for New Year, New You would also be to review your 2024. Like, as I was saying earlier, 2024 for me, it went really fast, but also really slow at the same time. And when it feels like that, you may not be taking note of all the things that you have done or needed to do. So sit down and review your 2024, and you'll probably be shocked and surprised by how much of the goals you've achieved, how many goals that you still need to kind of work through, like figure out how you're going to work on those. But just to acknowledge what you've done with yourself, how your year has been, the differences that you've made, the different kind of things that you've achieved. Take stock of that, because we just power through things without reviewing them. And actually, that's not helpful. How do you know what you need to work on if you haven't figured out what you actually have been able to conquer this year? So that would be that. And my final tip for New Year, New You would be vision boarding. So vision boarding has really helped me to review. Part of my vision boarding process is to review the previous year's vision board and be like, tick, 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 cross, cross, cross. Let me figure out what's gone on here. Let me figure out if I need to add this onto my new vision board, or am I leaving this in 2024? That's great. It helps me to review, but also helps me to set goals for the next year. And let me tell you this, my vision boards work. My vision boards work. I've done it for 3 years, and I can tell you that I have literally seen, most years I'm able to tick off like my whole vision board. Maybe like 1 or 2 things carry forward, or 1 or 2 things have happened in a way that I didn't expect, but they've happened. Vision boards work. So that would be my final tip. Sit down, do your vision board, review what you've done in 2024, think about what you want to achieve in 2025, and power forward. Power forward. I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so excited for what the new year's going to bring. I'm excited for myself as well. I can't wait to push the Phenomenal Women Club to reach the heights it's supposed to reach. And I cannot wait to have you guys on the journey with me. So you guys already know what to do. Follow along, tag us, send to your work colleagues, your friends, your loved ones, join the Phenomenal Women Club community, and I will see you all in 2025. Thanks for being around for me this year. You guys have been great interaction. Like I've loved it, but more of this in 2025. I love you all, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, take care. Bye.